There comes a moment when the plan falls apart, when the words dry up, when your strength hits its limit. You've prayed, you've pleaded, you've fought with your whole heart, but nothing changed, at least not on the surface. And now, you're tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. This isn't the kind of tired that sleep fixes. It's the kind only surrender can reach. Because sometimes, the most spiritual thing you can do is stop. Stop trying to hold what only God can carry. Stop trying to fix what only grace can heal. You weren't created to control it all. You were created to trust the one who can. And today, that invitation still stands. Let it go. Not in fear, but in faith. Let it rest, not in defeat, but in dependence. Because when you place it in His hands, you place it in the only hands that never drop, never shake, never fail. So breathe and prepare to lay it down, not just with words, but with your whole heart. This is where the shift begins. This is where peace takes over. This is where you stop fighting and let God be God. The surrender shift. Surrender doesn't start in your hands. It starts in your heart. Long before you let go physically, you have to let go internally of the what ifs, the why nots, the when will it change. Because most of what you're holding is not the situation itself. It's your attachment to the outcome. You're not just carrying a problem. You're carrying the pressure to solve it. You're not just holding the relationship. You're holding the fear of losing it. You're not just praying about finances. You're gripping the anxiety of what people will think if it fails. And all of that, it's too heavy for you. It's breaking your sleep, clouding your clarity, wearing down your worship, because anxiety is loud, even in silence, and control is subtle. It wears spiritual masks. You call it wisdom. You call it planning. But God sees it for what it is. Self-preservation, a refusal to trust, unless you understand. But faith is trust without understanding. It's Abraham walking with Isaac, without knowing there was a ram. It's Esther going before the king, not knowing the scepter will be extended. It's Jesus in Gethsemane, whispering, "Not my will, but yours." Real surrender is costly, because it touches the deepest places. Not just your schedule, but your identity. Not just your plans, but your pride. Not just your habits, but your hope. And yet, it's where real freedom begins. Because when you finally unclench, you begin to breathe again. You stop managing outcomes and start making room. Room for God to work. Room for peace to grow. Room for stillness to speak. Surrender isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's not giving up. It's giving over. It's not letting go of effort. It's letting go of illusion. The illusion that you were ever in control. The illusion that your striving was saving you. You were never called to be your own rescue. You were called to rest in your Redeemer. So whisper it now, even if it takes everything in you. God, I let go of the outcome, of the timeline, of the reputation, of the explanation, of the fear, of the fight. I release it from my hands, and I place it into yours. And if it rises again tomorrow, I'll surrender it again. Because surrender isn't a one-time moment. It's a lifestyle. It's the rhythm of faith, the heartbeat of trust. So today, I don't need to feel strong. I just need to be surrendered. And that is more than enough. The power of letting go in silence. You thought silence meant nothing was happening. But in heaven, silence is often where the deepest things begin. The seed does not scream as it grows. It splits quietly underground. The healing does not announce itself. It flows gently, unseen, through soul and spirit. The breakthrough doesn't always shatter walls. Sometimes it softens the ground beneath them. And God does some of His greatest work in the quietest places. Because silence is not the absence of God. It's the unveiling of trust. Will you stay surrendered? Even when there's no sign. Even when there's no confirmation. Even when heaven seems slow to speak. Because real surrender isn't a bargain. It's a burial. You bury the outcome. You bury the pressure. You bury the pride that says, God, I'll trust you if you move fast. If you give me proof. If you make it look the way I want. But He's not looking for a deal. He's looking for a disciple. One who says, even in silence, I will still wait. Even in delay, I will still worship. Even in hiddenness, I believe something holy is unfolding. So what do you do while you wait? You rest. Rest is not laziness. It's resistance. It's saying, my God is working, even when I cannot see Him. My faith doesn't need fireworks. It needs foundation. And the foundation is this: God is faithful. You don't have to refresh the answer. You don't have to monitor the miracle. You just have to be still. And know that the God who hung stars in silence knows how to build your breakthrough in stillness. So don't confuse the pause with punishment. Don't confuse quiet with disapproval. This silence is not rejection. It is reverence. He is near. Though your ears hear nothing, your spirit knows. So, rest there, right there, in the holy hush, between surrender and the scene, and believe that silence does not mean stillness in heaven. It means something sacred is already beginning. A prayer of trust and release. Lord, I'm tired, not just physically, but deep in my spirit. I'm tired of carrying things I cannot control, tired of holding conversations in my head, tired of replaying outcomes I cannot change. You see me. Before I explain, before I justify, before I try to be strong again, you know, where the fear really lives, where the sadness has been sitting, where the control has turned to quiet panic, and still, you wait for me, with open hands, with still waters. So, here I am, again, but different, not coming to fix it, but to give it, not coming to explain, but to expose. I bring you everything I didn't think was spiritual, the clutter in my heart, the anxiety in my breath, the grief that feels unspeakable, because you are not just the God of what's holy, you are the God of what's heavy, and I have carried heavy for too long. So today, I take this moment, and I surrender it all, every assumption, every broken expectation, every failed timeline. I release the burden of appearance, the pressure to be okay, the fear of being misunderstood. I lay it down, in your presence, in your mercy. And I don't need a dramatic answer. I just need to know I'm held, that you see me, and you're not in a rush. You won't leave me in pieces. But you also won't rush the healing. You work in layers, and you're faithful in silence. So even when I don't feel it, I'll trust that surrender still matters. Even when the weight lingers, I'll believe that peace is on the way. Lord, take what I cannot hold. Take the uncertainty. Take the disappointment. Take the part of me that still wants to fix it. Rewire my reactions. So I stop grasping and start resting. Teach me that quiet is not failure, that being still is not being passive. Let me learn the rhythm of trust. Step. Release. Breathe. Wait. And in the waiting, I will worship. In the unknown, I will hold on to what I do know. You are good. You are present. You are my shepherd. And no one can snatch me from your hand. So even if the storm continues, even if I hear no answer, even if tomorrow feels the same, I will say, you are my peace. I will declare, you are still worthy of my surrender. And I will believe that you are working, even now. So I whisper it again, until it becomes breath, until it becomes rhythm, until it becomes rest. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. Amen. You've prayed, you've let go. You've given God what you've carried for too long. So now, what happens next? You rest. Not because the problem is gone, but because the weight is no longer yours. You walk into your day, still uncertain, but not unsupported, still waiting, but not worrying. Because when you truly leave it in God's hands, you stop checking the outcome every 5 minutes. You stop reimagining the worst-case scenario. You stop rehearsing your defense. You start to breathe like a person who trusts. You start to move like someone who's no longer trapped. The situation might still look the same, but you are not. You're lighter. You're freer. You're no longer carrying what heaven already claimed. So don't snatch it back. Don't reattach what grace has severed. Let your posture today be stillness. Let your worship be quiet confidence. If the fear whispers, it's not working, you answer, it's no longer in my hands. If anxiety creeps in, asking, but what if? You reply, that belongs to the Lord now. Because faith doesn't end with amen. It begins there. So let your trust walk beside you, into every room, every phone call, every email, every doctor's visit, every lonely place. And let this be your gentle reminder. You left it in His hands, and His hands have never failed. Amen.